we'll be able to get up to $10,000. When we start talking about Grand Prairie ISD in the city of Grand Prairie, city of Dallas, and school districts in Dallas, our students get $6,600 in terms of a basic allotment. Students getting vouchers can get up to $10,000 per student. That's what's happening in our education system. So even though we were fortunate to be able to get about $8 billion for teachers, and we had to push real hard to get pay raises for custodians and janitors and bus drivers, but we were able to do that because of the Democratic push. When you begin to look at other issues concerning immigration, well, you know what the deal is on that. I'm not going to delve into that. The fact is that we now have a Homeland Security Committee that frankly oversees all of that, and DPS is now been given authority to be able to do a lot of things as it relates to coordinating with ICE. We begin to look at issues concerning health and human services. Our Summer SNAP program, for those of you who are not familiar with it, that's the program that we have every summer. The kids that don't have the means are able to get a summer lunch at our parks. Guess what Adam did? Even though we appropriated the money in the budget, he decided that line item veto the money, basically using an excuse. He wasn't certain in terms of what the federal government was going to do with its portion of the program. We had $60 million in the budget in order to feed kids. If the state government had put up $60 million, we would have been able to pull down over $409 million in order to make certain that the program existed. Abbott said no. Your governor said no to that particular program. And guess who benefits from that program? A lot of our children benefit from that program. When you begin to look at issues concerning criminal justice, don't get me wrong, I want to make certain that our communities are safe and secure. But there were issues concerning in criminal justice that, needless to say, we needed to make certain we could address. But we did not have the firepower to do it on the floor because we didn't have the votes. And the reason we didn't have the votes, we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. We begin to look at issues concerning not only criminal justice, but look at issues concerning economic development. Guess what's happening? DEI is being torn asunder. You have a president just last week, based on his executive order, decided to take down a page on the Pentagon's website of African Americans who had received the Medal of Honor. You have a president that's going into the African American Museum in Washington, D.C. that's saying this doesn't belong here, that doesn't belong here. We're having programs where businesses, Hispanic businesses, African American businesses, women businesses are no longer being given an opportunity to adequately participate. And I want you to be able to know, and I'll make sure you get the information, what will the enrollments in our colleges look like now after the first iteration of DEI, quote unquote. I suggest to you that the number of students that we have going to college will ultimately end up going down because we have a president that wants to whitewash history in this country. And so the question is, I can go on and on about different other issues, and we'll talk about the issue, needless to say, with the elephant in the room, that is redistricting. But the question is what are we going to do about it? Are we going to continue to just whine about it? Or just say what we're going to do and do nothing? Because we haven't done a damn thing. Right. You think about the number of Latino voting age population in Dallas County. And now I think it's about 700,000. And out of 700,000, about 342,000 actually vote. 700,000 voting age population, 342,000 in the last election voted. You see all the votes that were left on the table? Left on the table. And here's something else that, excuse me, that pisses me off. You know what my record is in terms of working with people across this state, regardless of the color of their skin. I work with people that I have an interest a common interest. And that's what we need to make sure that we do. Develop the coalition in this state and in this county with people that have common interests. It's a long time for all of that stuff. He's black, she's Hispanic, I'm not supporting. But we have more interests in common than otherwise. Let me ask you this. How many of you think there's a black and brown issue in Dallas County? Raise your hand.
It's always a black and brown.
Hold on. Raise your hand. How many of y'all think it's a black and brown issue? Okay. How many of you don't think there's a black and brown issue? None of y'all don't think it's black and brown? Well, how many of y'all don't know? How many of you don't understand what I'm saying? I love it.
How about don't want to say?
That's what it is. How many think there's a black and Hispanic and white issue in Dallas County? Raise your hands. How many of you think there's a black and white issue in Dallas County? Raise your hands. Look around. This is what I've seen that you've allowed me to do over these many years, is to work with all different communities here in this county. And there are a lot of people that have the same interests at heart. But for some strange reason, we haven't put together the coalition. Do y'all understand and appreciate that House members, when they ended up doing the things that they did, as it relates to redistricting, that we didn't have the votes in the Senate to do anything? Out of all the senators, we can't even stop. If the Senate wanted to open up business, we don't have enough senators that are Democrats who can stop that. We don't have enough senators that can break quorum in the Senate at all. And why is that? Because we have not flexed our muscle jointly as a people. And I'm saying to you this, as your state senator, and having worked with many of you in this room, I say to you that it's a long time for us to continue the divisiveness in our communities, but not do something in order to join together. And so I was talking to our superintendent, and I'll be talking about my partner here, about who in this room and other rooms that we need to get together to make certain that we support people. Listen to me, support people because they have the same interests that we have, not necessarily based on the color of their skin. Okay? Do I want black people at the table? You damn right I want black people at the table. Don't want Latinos at the table? You damn right I want Latinos at the table. Because with those different perspectives, working with our Asian brothers and our Anglo brothers and sisters, with those different perspectives at the table, we get the best decisions. And after all, it's all about making sure we get good policy. And in order to do that, we can no longer simply say just because that person happens to be African American, I'm not voting for them. That person happens to be Latino, I'm not voting for them. We have got to have a coalition, a true coalition, not one that we're just talking about it, in this county. And if we can lead it here in this county, some of the division that we have across the state, we should be able to help do away with also. Because I'm telling you, Republicans enjoy the majority, obviously, in this state. And when you begin to look at the policies that they pass, it's reflective of they're moving farther and further to the right, even where independents don't even want to deal with them. The old Republican Guard looks at them and says, that's not my Republican Party. And so when you look at the redistricting issue, you see exactly what happened. You know, African Americans, needless to say, we have 4 African American congressional seats after all these many years of slavery and all the other crap that we've gone through. And you saw what happened as it relates to Latino seats. They're trying to challenge those down in South Texas in hope that the Hispanics down in South Texas will vote Republican. That's what the hope is down there. Do you see what's happening up here? The VC's district, the old VC's district. My friend tried to win a long time ago. Okay? 2 African American seats. Barbara Jordan's old seat. Barbara Jordan! Down in Houston. Sheila Jackson Lee. Down in Houston. The 3rd Ward and the 5th Ward. Historically African American seats. That seat, Congressional District 9, I think it was. It's has now been torn asunder, cracked, and packed. That's exactly what's happening at this point. So African Americans could conceivably lose 2 congressional seats. That's unacceptable. Guess what? They had the votes to do it. Now, Senator West, what are you saying? What I'm saying is that when I look at the Latino community, I'm proud of the Latino community. We have more educators. We have more students graduating from college. The dropout rate is down. And we need to continue the progress. We have more Latino elected officials. We need more Latino elected officials. The right ones. That's what he's talking about, Senator.
That's right.
We need the ones that will work with other people at the table to make sure that the issues that impact our communities are in fact addressed by policies that are passed by that particular board, be it city, be it county. And we've got to make certain that when I look around to Latino elected officials and business persons, that you are hiring African American students. This is what I'm seeing with my own eyes. And don't get me wrong, it's okay. And when I go to fast food establishments, the only thing I see is Latino young people. I no longer see young African Americans. And in part, that's because of the language. Young African Americans must learn how to speak Spanish. That's a reality. I've said that years and years and years ago, but I want to make certain that Latino business persons also turn around and hire young African Americans, Asians, Anglos. If we're going to truly come together and not be a divided community, we've got to put together a coalition that also articulates making certain that people of different ethnic groups are sitting at the seat of power, that we're working together as a community to elect different persons, specifically those persons that are our best interests in mind. You allowed me to serve as your senator for these many years. This redistricting process is not a new one. We've gone through it year after year after year, and the different organizations, LULAC, NADA, NAACP, have already filed suit as it relates to this. Is going to be back out in El Paso. We'll see exactly what's going to happen. But understand, it's a 12-round fight. It's 12 rounds. We won round 1, and I think we won round 2. We're going to lose. We lost round 3 because they had the votes. Okay? But now we're in the courtroom. And so these other rounds are going to continue to move forward. Gavin Newsom, as a result of our state representatives, they went out to California, Chicago, and raised the issue of what's going on in the state of Texas in terms of midterm redistricting. Let's give them a hand for what they've done. It is now up to us to continue this fight. Gavin Newsom has already taken the lead in California. I'm pretty sure something's going to be happening in Illinois. But the fight is still not over with. We have got to win back the House in 2026. And the only way we can do that is working together to get it done. I'm talking to the choir right now. Okay? But what I'm telling the choir is this. As one of the elders of the church now, one of the elders, that we have got to pull together those persons in this room and other rooms that are willing to put together a coalition in order to work together as a community to make certain that our best years are ahead of us as opposed to behind us. Thank you very much.
One question. The THC bill. I'm a middle school math teacher, and I communicate with Dr. Alzade, and I listen to the plain old ISD input and every single input I can hear from the school district superintendents. Those kids in high school, they need to be able to know it's against the law if you're now at least 21 or 18 or whatever, but there's no law. So, I mean, I understand having me against the THC bill, I get that. But why you couldn't at least say, or don't say, you know what, we're going to at least say 21 or 20 or 19, or you can't be a high school student, something where it says, where any convenience store who wants to sell it, we can arrest you.
I mean, the reality, it goes back to what I've been saying. If we don't have a real voice, we don't have a real voice. Don't get me wrong, I'm not I will stand up and say what I need to say and do what I need to do down in Austin. But the reality is that the position that you take is not one that will pass out of the Senate of the state of Texas. It's just one, because we don't have the numbers. And until such time as we get more senators to think like you just articulated, it's going to continue to be the same policy.
The majority of the Senate and the representatives support a bill against the THC. Majority of the House and the Senate in the original session supported some type of anti-THC bill. That means there is a coalition, a majority of Democrats and
No. The Senate was totally against the THC. It was, the Senate never supported regulation.
That was Patrick's bill.
That's Patrick.
Senator, with in-state tuition impacting a lot of our kids that are not only in the community colleges but the universities in the state of Texas, what can we do now to see what we can do to overcome that? We know that
It's not
impacting a great number.
Hector, it's not, I'm telling you, and I was there when we first passed the in-state tuition bill. I supported it, okay? And you saw exactly what happened to it. The only way we're able to get something like that addressed, I told you, like in Dallas County, 1.4 million voters, 700,000 and 342,000 being Latino. We've got to get those numbers up. We've got to get people turning out to vote. And until such time as we do that, we're going to continue to get these types of policies. It ain't a damn thing we can do about it other than getting out the vote. I say there's nothing that we can do about it. We can do something about it. We've got to turn out the vote. And we can't just continue to talk about it. We've got to do it. We got to put together the coalition. As you've always talked about it, we've always talked about it. In order to turn the vote out, we do that, then we'll have to deal with that Democrat anymore.
Well, thank you for serving this North Texas well.
Thanks, sir.
Senator, this is John Martinez with the Regional Hispanic
I'm sorry,
Contractors.
who are you?
I wonder myself sometimes in this day and age. You know, I know that there's a lot of doom and gloom out there, but I think the difference between now and before the Civil Rights Act is that I don't want people to give up.
No.
Because what we have difference now is that we have Dr. Elizalde, we have Kim Tolbert, we have Jay Chapa, we have us here. So I think there's two things we can do. First, we got to donate some money to the people who are running for office. Sometimes we just don't want to donate that money. We got to do that, number one.
Oh, wait a minute. Say that again.
Got to put some money on the table.
That's exactly right.
And then if we can't vote, find somebody that can vote as well, right? Let's take somebody to the polls. So we're going to have to do something. We can't sit back and say, look what they're doing. We got to see what we're doing, right? So it starts with us.
I mean, I tell you what, Representative Mason can tell you. The reality is that if we don't support good candidates, then we're going to continue to get bad candidates that lose in the general primary and in the general election. And don't get it twisted, they have plenty of money. But the reality is we have more people. And if we turn around and just go ahead and put together the coalition that needs to be put together and quit talking about doing it and just do it and figure out who's going to be sitting at the table in order to do it. If we do it right here in Dallas initially, then it'll help spread across this entire city. And we have the firepower here in Dallas to do it. Because even though in the past, yes, there have been strident divisions between our communities, I don't see that as much as I used to see. And so we've got to be able to work together, recognize and respect each other's rights to sit at the table of power in order to have input into the decision-making process. We've got to make sure those persons sitting at the seat of power understand that they've got to share power with other people that are sitting at their table.
Last question.
Senator, we have
Right.
I have a quick question, Senator Los Santos with the LULAC Education Center. You spoke so eloquently about the need for us to come together as communities, Black, Brown, other communities. Could you talk about any leadership programs? We need that, desperately need the youth leadership to come together. Could you talk about any initiatives that young people, especially mid-career people or college or high school students can come together, and how, if you are personally involved or any leadership opportunities for students, how can people sign up for that if there is a...
What we've been doing over the past, I don't know how many years. Nana, where's Nana?
Here.
Nana, Stand up. I mean, stand up. Then Alvarado. She's my legislative aide, one of my legislative aides. We have the Dr. M.J. Conrad Student Advisory Committee. And what we try to do is work with school districts, we work with school districts in order to get student leaders, so we can help develop those student leaders. With the hope that we have a pipeline, that once they get out of the Student Advisory Committee, they come down to Austin and all that other stuff, they'd be exposed to what's going on down in Austin, that we get them into Dr. M.J. Conrad leadership program, where we get them jobs during the summertime in different locations. That's what we're doing in order to help try to develop students. But going back to the leadership piece, it's important that Ray, you, John, I'm not going to start naming names, we've got to figure out who can sit down, talk about some of the issues that we have, and how we pull together, our communities. Okay? And I'm looking forward to being a part of that.
Let me ask one more question.
We gotta keep going, sorry. Gotta keep going. All right, Lupe, we're gonna give you, as a former sheriff, we're gonna give you the last round.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for your service. I know you did a lot of good for the college and other things. In 2020, your district became more Hispanic than African American. I'm sure you know that.
I'm sorry, you said 2020?
In 2020, the census, I got it right there. The census indicated that your district is now more Hispanic than African American. Not by much, like 800 or 1,000 people in 2020. By 2025, I'm sure there's quite a few more. My question, as we try to do this brown and black coalition.
No, as we do it.
I have two questions. First, what percentage of your senatorial office is Latino? And second, I know that you advocate a lot for African Americans, which is a wonderful thing. It's great. And I know that you go downtown and push for committees and everything to have African Americans. Wonderful. Now that it's more Hispanic, are you going to do the same thing for the Hispanics?
I'm going to continue to do what I've done from the very beginning, Luke. And the only thing that you can look at my work to see what I've done. I've advocated for the Latino community, the African American community, the white community, all different communities. You asked me in terms of people in my office. How many people?
50-50.
It's about 50-50 in my office. You see, again, I'm not going to get up here and be a hypocrite. If I'm going to sit up and say that we need to make certain that Hispanics, just as you did when you were sure, have African Americans in their office, I'm not going to be able to say that and not be a leader on it. I'm 50-50 in my office.
All right, we're going to keep on going. Our next speaker was a former assistant city manager in the city of Duncanville from 2014 to 2013 to 2015. In 2021, he was elected to the Duncanville City Council, and now he is the mayor of Duncanville. And a little background, he's been married 43 years. He's retired. He served on the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners from 1996 to 2000. And he now runs his own company, the GDC Consulting Services, LLC. Let's give a big hand to the mayor of Duncanville, Greg Contreras.
Thank you, Dominic. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. By the way, the menudo was so good, I decided to take some home with me. Who wears a white shirt and eats menudo, right? I'm sorry. Well, I'm excited to be here. I was here about a year ago, got to talk to this group. There wasn't as many people in the room. I'm intimidated. But hopefully I'll give you some good news about Duncanville. I'll start out by saying that to me, Duncanville, we partner, as many of you may be aware, we partner with best Southwest cities, DeSoto, Cedar Hill, and Lancaster. And as such, we have a great bond with those cities. But my kids both my boys played soccer on Oak Cliff teams their whole life growing up. I had an office right here on Tyler and Davis, a construction office. And so I've always felt like, I don't want to offend anybody by saying this the wrong way, but that this part of Dallas is the fifth city that in our partnership, because so many of the people that live here, they come to Duncanville, they shop, their kids go to school in Duncanville, and I feel there's sometimes a misnomer that we're surrounded, Duncanville's surrounded on three sides by the city of Dallas. So how could we ignore the fact that we're partners in every way? We shop and we eat in Oak Cliff. People from Oak Cliff come to Duncanville and eat. And so I want to make that point because it's really important to me that it's never talked about the important connections between, yes, it's the big city of Dallas, but this portion of Dallas is Southwest Dallas County, and it's all one big family. So I'm proud to be here on that basis. Real quick, just some housekeeping about what's going on in Duncanville. We have just accepted the resignation of the city manager that for personal reasons has decided to move on. So we have a lot of really good things going on right now. We're wrapping up our comp plan for 2040, which is going to be building blocks for what people that are moving into Duncanville, what we're going to do for them to build it up to something bigger and better, given our location, the strategic location at I-20 and 67. There's just thousands of people that come to our city every day, and we want to take advantage of that and build on that for the future generations, many of which are people, young people from this area that have moved to Duncanville, that moved their family to Duncanville, and we really appreciate that. The population, I heard something about the census here a minute ago, 20 census showed Hispanic population in Duncanville being somewhere in the 44th percentile. That blew a lot of people away. We didn't know that. So we started looking more closely at that and saying, well, what does that represent to us? That growing population, is it reflected in our city operations? Is it reflected in our city overall? The answer was obviously not to the extent that it needed to be. So as a council person, initially, and then as mayor, I tried to really build on that and try to contact a lot of groups, church groups, school groups, whatever I can do to talk to people about growing the representation. And I'll tell you that this started actually when I was an employee with Duncanville, and Senator West would come in and go to have coffee or breakfast or something with our city managers, and he always stopped. And City Hall in Duncanville has three main offices when you walk in. It's kind of circular. And they're the main departments: courts, water department, city manager's office, and all of our planning, public works, and everything. And he would look, and I think he would stop them and say, because you could see the employees in there, and he would comment about how everybody didn't look like him or like us. And he never stopped doing that. And they listened. They listened. And so from that time, back 20 years ago, to today, there's always more work to do, right? But when you go to Duncanville today, you see the change. And I'll give him credit, a large part of credit, for encouraging the city managers to recognize. When I came to work in 1991, there were 3 Hispanics working in profile positions in Duncanville. And 2 of us, one bilingual, and the third one was a young lady that worked in our court department. That was it. So when you walked in, that's all you saw if you were looking for Hispanics. Now, going there, it's not just clerical, it's mid-level, director positions. Everything's changing. Everything's growing in the direction that I think Senator West wanted to see it grow. African Americans and Hispanics dominate the landscape when you walk into City Hall in Duncanville. And that matches up to some degree with our census. And that's something that we're really pushing for. My objective has been to try to get more involvement on the Hispanic side, more involvement, more voting, more people involved in boards and commissions. It took me a while, and I thought I wasn't taking any headway, and then suddenly we've had an explosion of interest in Hispanics wanting to be on our boards and commissions. That's the next wave of representatives of council or mayor That's the next wave. And you don't want to have a gap. You don't want to have it falling off. Right now, our council is made up of 3 African Americans, 2 Hispanics, and I think I've got that right, and one Anglo. And so it's representative of our city's population. It looks like we should look, but you can't have a break in that. You can't have a letdown, because that will change dramatically if people don't get interested and want to follow up and have that representation they deserve. So that's something I've worked really hard on, and I'm seeing some movement on that. I'm going to ask some of y'all to help me in the future, because one thing I've discovered is we have a huge Hispanic voting population in Duncanville, huge, in the national elections, and then in the state elections. But in the local elections, it drops off. And I think that's nationwide, that every ethnic group drops off in local elections. But trying to drive home the importance to the Hispanic population of Duncanville is an objective of mine that I hope to be able to do something about, so that we can have a continuation of representation that everybody deserves. Real quick, I mentioned we're working on our comp plan for 2040. We have a bond election that's going to be coming up next May to expand our police department and our public works building. Their aged police department needs more room. And while I'm talking about the police department, I'm also proud to brag that they now have, and this is a vast difference too from 5 years ago, we now have out of our 59 sworn officers, 35.6% are Hispanic. And that's huge, and it's important because we had, thank you. We had a town hall meeting at a Hispanic church in Duncanville, and fortunately we had a translator for us. And the group that came in, it was right about when the immigration stuff was happening. And they didn't participate. There was good attendance, but they weren't asking questions. They almost seemed scared. Well, as more of our Hispanic officers stepped forward and had microphones, and they started to see the connection, I could see them loosen up, and all of a sudden it went from no questions to one question after another. And what that signified to me was they felt comfortable in that environment. And in that meeting, we also had a table set up with some immigration attorneys to help them with issues they may be concerned about. So it was a really welcome town hall meeting, and I talked with Michelle Arias, who is our police representative, about doing more of those. I think it's absolutely necessary to make sure that people live in Duncanville, feel comfortable in Duncanville, and feel that they're being covered and taken care of. And so we're doing a better job. Always can get better. We also are big into them. I'm old school, so I don't know a lot about art. I mean, I know a little bit, but we have developed a cultural arts commission. And when I say cultural arts, it is truly about representing every form of art that, and this is something that progressive cities do all over the state. I see it, but we've yet to do that. But in the past year, we've developed quite a program with a lot of people involved to promote all of the arts. And it's been reflected in a lot of shows that we've had that has had everything from African American art during African American Month, and Hispanic Heritage Month is coming up. There'll be a lot of art. And as I found out, art is not always just a picture on the wall. Art is music, art is dance, art is even food, I found out. So it will be something that's expanding aggressively in our community to include cultural arts to reflect our population and the talents that we have in our community. We are having, on September 20th, we have a 4-city combination Hispanic Heritage Month that we do in conjunction with Cedar Hill, DeSoto, and Langston. Last year it was in DeSoto. They had about 4,000 people that attended. We were there, and it was a well-attended event, very hot that day, so I think the heat maybe held a few people back. This event that we're having, September 20th, it starts at 3 o'clock, there's a parade, and it goes on to 10 o'clock p.m. There's vendors, there's food, there's entertainment, music. And the one thing I asked the city manager to do this year was make sure that when we were presenting, in any way we're presenting the parade or our presentations during the event, to make sure we're reflecting all of the Hispanic community. Last year, we unfortunately had somebody that wasn't connected and thought the Hispanic community, which is mainly made up of one part of the Hispanic community. What we missed out on was understanding that we have a huge diversity of Hispanic cultures. This year, we're really focusing on that. We are having, you know, Senator West did this without notes, right? But he's been doing it for over 30 years. I've got a few notes, but so some of the performers we're going to have, and I understand they're pretty popular, is, I'm going to say this wrong, and correct me, Angwe, the band. We're going to have Tejano Queen Forever, and we're going to have the Grios. Did I get that right? All right. Now this last one I'm going to need some help on. It's ballet
Ballet folklorico.
Okay. Miss Francis, come here and help me with this last one. Before I totally embarrass myself. What's that last word there?
Oh, that's Nahuatl. That's not even Spanish. That's why you can't pronounce it.
Thank you. I don't mind admitting my faults sometimes, but thank you for clearing that up, because I saw that word, I can't say this one, I'll really mess up. But again, overall, I think Duncanville's headed in a really good direction. We have just a wonderful city council, as I said, very diverse. After this last election, last May, we didn't have a change. What's beneficial there is this is a young group, and this group is diverse, they're young, and they're energetic, and so I've been through a lot of councils in my 30 years with the city of Duncanville, and a lot of those council members are my friends, my old friends. But this council right here are young people of action. So when they get on a subject matter of interest and importance, they see it through. They do not just talk about it and then it disappears like so many times the government does. I guess they're lacking a little bit on the follow-up. So we're going to have a great year. This council is dedicated to, in spite of losing our city manager recently, of continuing the programs that we have going on to make sure that everybody's included and to just build a better Duncanville and get us to the place where we need to be at the forefront of entering into Southwest Dallas County. We want to take advantage of all the people that are moving down in that area. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. If there's any question, I'd be glad to.
Any Q&A?
Just quickly, a question on the city manager, the search. Could you describe the process, when can people apply, and how could we maybe nominate people for that?
Well, certainly they'll accept any names that are offered for qualified individuals, but it is a process where you hire a search firm, and the search firm just puts it out, and we get a lot of interest when we're trying to hire a city manager. People aren't interested in coming to Texas. They'll come from out of state to come here, and we get a lot of interest, so we expect to get a wide variety of applicants.
Okay, we have a constituent over here.
Yes, sir.
Well, thanks a lot for coming, Mayor. Incidentally, I live in Duncanville, so I'm very familiar with the great work that he's doing. But what I was going to say, that I think we need to add to the membership list that we have a perfect candidate here, which is Sister Francis.
You talking about me?
Yes, ma'am. I think Francis would be a great addition to the city council over there in Duncanville. I know we have the Veracruzes over there doing good work. If you want somebody to really move that town, Francis Rizzo's the person.
I'll wrap it up by saying when I moved to Duncanville with my wife in 1981, I had a lot of people that would ask me, I was born from this area. People would say, yeah, are you kin to Martin Ventura? And I'd say, no. I kept getting pretty soon I was saying, yeah, he's my cousin. But I didn't know who he was. And one day, this lady walks into my office and we're talking, and she gave me a little bit of history, and all of you know as well as I do, she knows Duncanville and Oak Cliff history, so she was giving me a lesson. And suddenly it dawned on me, she was his sister.
No. Mark Contreras Sr. is my Yeah.
Right, so that mystery was resolved, and I finally knew who this man was who people ask me about all the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor.
Most people in Ledbetter, all of West Dallas, all of Duncanville, knew Bartolo Contreras Sr. Le llamaban el señor del cemento. He was a commercial concrete contractor, and he did a lot of community service work. That's why everybody said to Greg Contreras, do you know Bart? Are you related to Bart?
And so it goes, history. All right. Continuing, we're now started the school season. And so somebody's been with us before. She is got her bachelor's and her master's from UT San Antonio, got her PhD from UT Austin. She was the former superintendent for the Austin Independent School District, and she has been the Dallas Independent School District superintendent since 2022. Let's give a big hand to Stephanie Alzade.
So before, I'm going to make a few adjustments to my notes because I want to make sure, I think it is important we ask questions, but we should always ask ourselves, what's the purpose of our question? Because sometimes we ask questions amongst ourselves to put each other on the spot. And I wonder how many times we do that when we're not with each other. So I ask us all to ask, what is the intent of a question? Having been a principal for many years, I would hold a staff meeting. And I had teachers that would ask questions as they're wanting us to be better. And then there were teachers that were asking the question to create divisiveness. So we cannot fix what we do not acknowledge. And if we do not recognize that we have not come together, we haven't. Is it better than when I first came to Dallas in 2011? Absolutely. It is much better. But it isn't an opinion. The facts are that we don't collectively vote for individuals who represent the interests of ensuring that something as simple as civil rights are the things that are top of mind for candidates. And until we do that, we're going to keep asking the same questions and expecting a different answer. And it's not going to happen. Senator West was one of the first people that helped me when I was in San Antonio in the 1990s. He didn't know if I was black, brown, purple, green, I don't know. Husband number one is how long I've known Senator Royce West, okay? So let's all ask ourselves this. This is what I'm going to ask myself. I'm not going to ask you all, what are you doing? I'm going to ask myself, what is it that I'm doing? Because at the end of the day, there's still only one person that I get to control 24/7. And that's myself. It's very easy to tell other people what they should be doing. But if each of us just did it, we would be in a different place. So let's not wish for a different place. Let's each individually just ask ourselves what we can do. So back to schools for a minute. So there's at least two different kinds of people in this room. So some of us moved somewhere, bought a house, rented an apartment, because that's what we could afford. Sorry about that. That's what we could afford. Then some of us, and I've been that person, then some of us said, I think I can afford a little more, I'm going to move into a different neighborhood because the schools are good there. And I've done that too. The question is, we need to make sure that it doesn't matter where the house is, that every single school is an excellent school. And that's what I have to show up to do every single day. Now, here's what happens. We move into a house that is where the good schools are, and we all know what that means. It means the family income in that area is higher. And so Let's take a Highland Park as an example. Everybody expects kids in Highland Park to be successful. Everybody does. Nobody thinks anything of it. Well, we need to think that of every single kid in every one of Dallas ISD schools or Duncan ISD schools. Every single, that actually does start with us, and I'm going to tell you why. For too long, we as educators, and that means everybody in the school system, everybody's an educator, because there's a kid watching us, no matter what our job is, at some point in a school day. Every one of us sometimes reverts to sympathy instead of empathy. And so we start saying, ay, pobrecitos, ay, lo siento mucho. And the minute we say, I feel so bad, we begin to lower our expectations of our kids. And in fact, we're actually lowering our expectations of ourselves. We start giving ourselves an out. Well, I mean, the school's not going to do that well because the kids are coming from some challenging economic backgrounds. Well, I'm starting with all of that to actually tell you that's happening now in Dallas ISD. We have changed our expectations of kids. We've changed expectations of ourselves. And guess what's happening with our scores?
Going up.
They're going up. We didn't change the kids. They're our same kids. And we didn't change our teachers. We didn't change our principals. We changed our beliefs. Now, we've said we've always believed all kids could. But it goes back to what I heard Senator West ask us again. But are our actions matching our beliefs? They have to both be aligned. There are too many people that internalize low expectations of kids and low expectations of us as educators in urban school systems. How do I know it's been internalized? Turn on TV and watch WFAA. I'm not going to call out any names, but I have a colleague, another superintendent in another district, and when that individual was challenged about why their scores were lower than Dallas ISD, and they were a suburban school district, the response was, well, we're getting close to 40% economically disadvantaged students. WFAA, you don't have to take my word for it. So, well, what? We're using economics as an excuse for why we're not doing our job. We know what we signed up for. They didn't hide where Dallas ISD was when I said, please put me in coach, I want to be the superintendent. I didn't just sign up for that. I embrace that. This is the community I want to serve. I want to remember that as I was growing up in Laredo, Texas, the Latino kids didn't want to play with me because I had my mother's skin color. And the white kids didn't want to play with me because I was too loud. Still happening today. Still happening today. My son will say, Mom, you're yelling. I'm like, no, I'm Latina. There's a difference. So, you might be thinking, wait, where's the good news? It's coming, I promise. So, let me tell you some real information about our kids. Now, I'm going to say these are numbers. These aren't numbers. These are children. These are our next set of leaders. These are our next set of voters. When we talk about leadership programs, we've got some in our schools. We've got programs that we partner with many of you in this room. So let's talk about what we are achieving. 9 out of every 10 kids in general is coming from some sort of economically challenged family income. 9 out of every 10. And despite that, and by the way, about 50% of our kids' first language is not English. And I find this interesting. When bilingual kids come to school, and we have all sorts of languages in Dallas ISD, but let's take the predominant one of Spanish. When our Spanish kids enter our classroom, they get labeled as at risk because Spanish is their native language and they're going to learn English. Yet, when native English speakers want to learn Spanish, we call them advanced and accelerated. Think about that. One is seen as a deficit and one is seen as an addition. Who makes those judgments? We do. We don't get to point the finger anywhere else. We have to ask ourselves, what are we doing? Now I have lists of parents, including African American families, who say, put my child in the two-way dual language program because I want my child to learn Spanish alongside the kids that are learning English. It's the best model in the country, and Dallas ISD is doing it better than anywhere else. The editorial board wrote, and I quote, "We need to dispense with the idea that our public schools can't succeed, because Dallas ISD is changing what it means to be lucky enough to be in Dallas ISD, because they are outperforming the state in both economically disadvantaged, actually three categories: African American students, economically disadvantaged, and emergent bilinguals. We are achieving at a faster rate than the entire state of Texas is." Now those are just the Those are just a few of the numbers. How about this? This past school year, we doubled the number of A-rated campuses. We went from 30 to 60. We increased the number of B-rated campuses from 71 to over 100. And the failing schools went from 24 to 2.
All right.
24 to 2. We went from a C to a B. The Dallas Morning News also said if Dallas ISD can sustain this type of gain, they will be surpassing the state in the next few years. Now, schools are more than just a rating. I know that better than anyone else. But we also know that the rating matters, because it goes back to my first question. Where did you move in? Whether you bought or leased where you're living, you looked at school ratings, or you asked people about the schools when you have school-age children. That is why every single school needs to be that good. Now, that being said, the best schools in Texas are in Dallas ISD, and that's not me. This is U.S. News and World Report. 18 out of the top 100 high schools in Texas, and the top 3, number 1, 2, and 3, are Dallas ISD schools. We have over 1,100 students. They got 60 college hours, 2 years of college for free, and associate's degrees or career certifications. That means 1 out of every 10 kids. 1 out of every 10 kids has 2 years of college or a 2-year career certification. And looking at that, 32% of all of our class of 2025 got some college credit. A third, 1 out of every 3 kids was doing high school and college at the same time. Over the past 5 years, 47,000 industry certifications, as well as more than almost 5,000 college associate's degrees have been earned through Dallas ISD. Now, that isn't and hasn't always been the case. In 2018, only 42% of our students were college, career, military ready. And our Board of Trustees, a very courageous, unified board, said that is not good enough. And they challenged us to do better. Well, they set a goal of increasing it by 50%. So if we were at 42, they expected us to be at least 67. Well, the class of 2024, 90% of the students in Dallas High School. Now, the other thing is you can do all of this and still have a culture and climate of dignity and respect. We can challenge each other and not be ugly. We can do it in a way that asks us to lift each other up rather than put each other down so that we can feel better. We have the lowest teacher turnover rate in the entire region and are 2% better than the entire state of Texas. That's Dallas ISD. Over 99% of every single teacher position was filled on day one in Dallas ISD. Now, whether you love it or whether you hate it, pay for performance data doesn't lie. Teachers are staying, and they're staying not just in Dallas ISD, they're staying in the profession because they can make a little more money that makes it a little more doable. It is imperative that we pay our teachers what they are worth. It is imperative that we pay our custodians what they are worth. It is imperative that we keep raising the minimum amount that we pay our hourly employees because it takes everybody to educate our kids. We also are now expanding our pay for performance in counseling because we know academic counseling is the key to college career advising. We've lowered the student to counselor ratio to a manageable 270 to 1, not 450 to 1. And I've added mental health clinicians to every single comprehensive high school and one for every 3 middle schools. It is important that the school not simply sit back and say, it's not our responsibility, because it affects our kids. If not our job, who's going to step up and do it? That's what we have to do. We also have the ability now to embrace AI. A lot of school districts, when ChatGPT came out, said, oh my God, forget it, let's close everything down. You know what? Then we're closing it down to the future of our kids. We have to prepare them for their future, not our present. And in order to do that, they need to know what artificial intelligence is and how to use it responsibly so they don't get caught up in some scams or that they're abused by someone online. So we can't be afraid. We actually have to educate and inform. We have librarians, media. Oh yes, we kept libraries in Dallas ISD. Fundamental and it is important, but we've expanded our libraries. It includes technology. Our librarian media specialists are now AI trained and they're helping our teachers. Our librarians are playing a role in ensuring that every single student has an opportunity to really get a love for reading and learning. Well, beyond all of that, we just broke ground on a new Career Institute West. And that is going to be the latest in our CTE programs. Let me tell you what we're offering in those industry pathways. We have health sciences, construction and carpentry. We've got information technology, automotive technology. Anybody take your car to get it repaired? You got to take a loan just to get it fixed. Cybersecurity. The new area in which many jobs are going to be high paying. It's not about the degree, it's about the training that our kids have. And thanks to you, because much of that is coming from a 2020 bond. Without your support, we wouldn't be able to have more than 67 completely renovated or brand new schools in Dallas ISD. That's a result of the 2015 and the 2020 bond. But we want to continue with our career institutes and making sure we have high skill, high need, high wage jobs. And that is happening again because we're all working together to make this happen. You know, we lost Amazon, right? Everyone thought Amazon was coming, it was going to create all these jobs. Well, here's what I want to say to Amazon. The 2020 bond, and I know John can attest to that, our bond program created more than 60,000 jobs, which is way more than the Amazon visit was going to create. So remember that when you're voting for a bond, you're voting for jobs. And you know who are those jobs? It's our very own community. We are not bringing people in from somewhere else, although you all let me come in from Laredo, so. I mean, it's okay for a few of us to be let in, right? Okay. So, what else is happening? It's not just on the academic side, it's not just on the career tech side. We have the highest financial rating. We are a AAA Dallas ISD district. Only 1 out of 11 in the entire state have a AAA rating on finances, and that's Dallas ISD. That's how stable. In addition to all of that, all of what is so important for all of us is, as much as it sounds like a celebration, it's really a calibration, because we're just getting started. We have more work to do, and so you will never see a mission accomplished banner behind me, because we are not going to have succeeded. Education by its very nature is succeeding every day. We have to get better than we were the day before. That's who our competition is. Our competition is ourselves. We have enough work to do. But there was one Republican president that did get it right. And a saying he had was the soft bigotry of low expectations. So I'm going to bring it back full circle. We must expect a lot from ourselves and from our kids. But we must also provide them the support needed in order for them to get those outcomes, because we didn't all start on the same base. Some kids are already on third base before they get to school. Some of our kids haven't even left and are just now running over to first base. So it's important that we recognize everyone can end at the same place, but they don't all start at the same place. And so even though it's a bad word, equity means you provide resources where they are needed. So I'm going to change equity and I'm going to turn it into school improvement. Whatever we need to call it, the work is still going to get done. The work has to get done. And so, lastly, in case, I kind of like this work, I kind of enjoy what I'm doing. Every day I get up and I get to say, I get to go work alongside the most amazing educators in our school system. So if someone were to ask you, well, what is she like? There's 3 pieces of literature that I want to close with. I'm a little Mary Poppins, because I'm going to change things up. If it ain't working, we're going to do something else. But the other thing about Mary Poppins is, if you do remember the story, she left to ensure that the parents were empowered to be the parents. She didn't become the parent. It truly is about ensuring that we teach all our kids how to fish, not to simply provide them. Now I'm going to church. Okay. The second part of my personality is the Wizard of Oz. It is about expectation. All our kids are smart. They all have brains. All our kids have heart. And all our kids have courage. But it's our job to uncover and discover that in them. And lastly, I'm absolutely Don Quixote. Because if we don't have the impossible dream, then how will the possible be accomplished? And it's happening every single day, but we must always look not at the deficits, but what are the opportunities? And so I'll close with el dicho en español. A falta de pan, hay tortillas.
Our senator has to go on to the next meeting, but he has a real quick announcement he wants to do before, and then we'll take Q&A.
Let's give our superintendent another hand first. On October the 1st, we have the trip to Toronto, a symposium at town hall meeting, and it's going to be over at
West Dallas Multi-Purpose Center.
West Dallas Multi-Purpose Center from 6 to 8 p.m. out there on Fish Track. and we're going to, flyers will be going out. State representatives will be there to answer questions, kind of give you some information on the legislative session and where we're going from there. Make sure this will be the third one that we've had, so look forward to you being there. There'll be information coming out. Again, Stephanie, thank you very much. I look forward to continuing to work with you.
All right, I'm gonna start with Lisa, you're a teacher, then we'll go over here to that lady over on the left. Jackie, you can go around this way, and then I'll work my way around.
Okay, Dr. Elizalde, we know you know Mike Morales really well. When it comes to report cards, when it comes to school report cards, I'm an art teacher, so I look at everything about CCR and report card, but I would guarantee that less than 2% of the state Texas, possibly less than 1%, knows exactly how report cards read, and that includes most teachers in the state of Texas. So, are you concerned about how the report card is made? Because the more you know about it, the more likely you're gonna get that good A+ report card.
Well, I think, and we're talking about the school's report card rating system.
Yes.
And so, yes, so there are 4 domains. He says there's 3, there's really 4. Yeah, and I'll just give you I'm always gonna be a teacher. So domain 1, they'll call it domain 1. It's how many kids are near grade level, on grade level, or above grade level. That's domain 1. That's actually the most important one, because that actually tells us if we're moving kids where they need to be. But not everyone starts at the same place. So in fairness, there's not a whole lot that I always agree with on Commissioner, but there are a couple of things. 2A, domain 2A is growth. That means a teacher gets a student, say like me, and takes me from here to a 1.5 year growth. That should count for something, even if the student isn't yet on grade level. Because sometimes it takes us 2 or 3 years to get the student caught up. So 2A is also very important. 2B, I really don't pay attention to it. It's a comparison of all poor kids. I don't want to be at the top of the bottom. That doesn't really make any sense. And domain 3 is closing the gap. So whatever group of students on that particular campus is a minority on that particular school, we have to make sure that we are closing the gap. Sometimes that's a Latino group, sometimes it's an African American group. It just depends on the school makeup. 70% from elementary to middle school comes from either domain 1, 2A, or 2B, the highest of those 3, and 30% comes from domain 3. So what we do in Dallas is we don't just look at the overall grade. We are always going to focus on domain 1. And I know I have principals, raise your hand because I see principals and executive directors in here from Dallas ISD. They can give you a tutorial. Okay, next question.
Over here, young lady.
Hi. Also a math teacher, actually. And I think, Dr. Elizalde, you've seen me at board meetings. I teach at Sunset High School down the street. Yes, that's me.
Yes, ma'am. I know who you are.
Oh, okay, awesome. I guess I was curious about the counseling and how the pay for performance would work for that. For those who don't know, the teacher pay for performance is a mixture of how your assistant principal rates you during observations. Your test scores are either STAR or the end of semester test, and then a student survey that has some questions about how you teach, but also if I came back to the school in 3 years, how excited would this teacher be to see me? And I had mixed feelings on that system, but I sort of wondered how it would work for counseling, because that seems, I don't know, is it based on the prestige of the institution that the kid gets to enroll in, or how does that work? Yeah.
No, I think the data, first of all, we included counselors in the design of the Counselor Excellence Initiative. And anytime we do that, we're always going to have, it's always important to have the end user be part of the system. People support what they help to create. So we set out the parameters, and so the counseling indicators are going to be things like what percentage of your students are in fact moving from 9th grade and getting the 6 credits to move to 10th grade. So some of these are the same indicators that are necessary for our school report cards on CCMR, but we have not added anything in if you get into Harvard, you're going to get this many points. There are so many factors that influence so many of those other decisions. We want to make sure that they stay from a more objective standpoint.
All right, over here in the back. And we're working our way around.
Hi, good morning. My name is Roberto Chavarria. And as you can see, academically, you guys are doing a great job. But the problem that we as a community have, we don't believe in democracy. As you can tell, there's so many people that graduate, they never get involved in the community. They never even get to vote. Like the mayor said, we don't even have people representing. And we have so many people finishing college, people being successful. But the problem in our community is that we don't empower people to believe in the system, in voting. What are you guys doing as the educational system to create Democrats that really participate and really believe in the system beyond the economic success or failure?
So you mean creating democracy, right? Not Democrats, because
Democrats is the term, not
the party, not the party.
Being part of the political system.
The republic creating democracy. Okay, so first of all, that is woven in within all of our social studies civics curriculum. Secondly, we partner with organizations like March to the Polls. We ensure that we are registering every single individual student on our campus that is 18 years of age or nearing 18 years of age. We now have voter registration drives. We partner with a variety, and we are keeping track of what that percentage of voters are. We also know what the research says. Once you are registered to vote, if we get those kids, those young adults to vote that first time after they are registered, they become lifelong voters. So it's first, we gotta get them registered. Second, we have to ensure that they actually get out and vote. And I will also add this. This is why, though, academics is so important. Because if you do not learn and you do not have the ability to ask critical questions, you are not going to be able to think for yourself. And you are subject to other people influencing you without you being able to judge facts from alternate facts.
Okay. All right, let's close it up. All right, I'm gonna go Hilda.
Thank you, Dr. Elizalde. Wonderful job. My hat's off. Wonderful job. My hat's off to you. I do want to give you some kudos on all your accomplishments, and also to mention that my go-to person from your staff is Stephanie Hewitt. We nip things on the bud before they get out of hand. However, there's an incident, or a couple of incidents that I've dealt with in the last 2 years, and one, unfortunately, I know you can't comment because it's litigation, but the problem is administrators falsifying, identifying LPAC and ESL students and not giving them the services. You asked that we ask you a question about the intent. My intent is to get investigation and resolution to these issues.
And I want to make sure that everyone knows that we have to ensure that any reports of anything that even resembles some wrongdoing will always be thoroughly investigated, and we will correct whatever needs to be corrected, and we will accept whatever we have done that should not have occurred. We will always do that. The more we get that information up front, the quicker we can resolve them. That's going to happen, unfortunately, in an organization where it's a large organization. There are a lot of benefits to having a large organization. We have economies of scale, we have diversity that we can utilize, and then there are also, like everything else, it takes time sometimes, but I can assure you that we have an entire department devoted strictly, it does not report to me, for the purposes of ensuring that those investigations are actually as extremely objective as they can be. So we'll continue to work through that. We absolutely should not have anyone. No one should be falsifying any documents whatsoever.
Hector, and then then we got last two questions.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for coming this morning, Dr. Elizalde. I wanted to mention to you that last year we had some shootings, believe it or not, in Omaha, Nebraska, that LULAC, Roman, myself, and others went to check it out to try and create communication between the local community and the police departments, the sheriff department, all the law enforcement agencies. And found out as we're working with them that how the work you're doing here impacts elsewhere. Found out that in high school now you have about 5 or 6 schools that are teaching criminal justice, but also firefighting. Those young people that want to become firefighters or police officers, they actually are getting double credit. They're tied in with East Texas A&M, the Dallas colleges, UTA, and maybe one other college. So the kids, not only are they able to graduate with one diploma in May, they may also get up to 60 hours, which means that in Dallas in the past, you have to have at least 45 hours of college to be considered for fire or police. So you guys are doing it. So now, believe it or not, it's impacted Omaha, Nebraska. They're going to do the same thing based on the information.
Wow.
And they came to visit, and I wanted to thank Brian Luskin particularly for making it happen for us.
Thank you, Dr.
Brought a team from there, and it's working. So this stuff works, okay?
Thank you. Thank you for
Last question
that.
over there.
Good morning. Good morning, Dr. Lozano.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. My name is Julian Williams. I've worked in Dallas Public School District for over 10 years. I was an educator and I was a licensed clinical social worker. And personally, I would like to thank you for your fearless leadership, first of all, in the political climate that we're in. I, internally see how you continue to fight for our district, for our students, and the passion that she's displaying amongst all of y'all, the passion that we always see in Dallas ISD. With so many laws and things changing, we have a lot of parents and students that are asking questions, and there's a lot of awareness being made to the changes that are happening in our school system. What are ways that we can encourage our families to get involved besides holding awareness about laws that are impacting our students, that are impacting education? We need to encourage them to reach out to their elected officials, to write letters, to show up in different places. How can we continue to encourage people? And again, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, and thank you for the work you do as well in our district. And I think what a great way to end this particular section with regard to the fact that the more our parents are also involved in talking with their elected representatives, their senators, even in neighborhood associations or groups like this, and having someone go and speak on behalf of certain groups. With so many laws, and I want to reiterate what Senator West said, nothing good came from this legislature this year. Nothing. Absolutely nothing good came from it. And we will have to ensure that our team, and I know again that I have a lot of Dallas ISD team members in here, we are going to use common sense with regard to the laws until someone tells me I can't do something. So some of these were about we can't offer counseling to kids. We're going to offer counseling to kids until someone tells me specifically that I'm breaking a certain law. So we are not going to abandon common sense because someone somewhere else did. We're going to make sure we meet the needs of our students. Thank you again for the opportunity. My last thing is, I really appreciate all of the applause. I do know this though. I didn't do any of the hard work. It's my entire team, and it starts with our custodians, our bus drivers. You know, the first classroom kids get in is a bus in many instances. So I want everyone to recognize that I recognize the work that has been accomplished is by anyone who calls themselves a Dallas ISD team member and all of the partners that work with us. I get to ride along, and I appreciate and I am humbled that I get the opportunity to do this really important work. Thank you.
So we're going to continue this education theme. Our next speaker is a native of Oak Cliff. He grew up in a family of 7. He was the first one in his family to graduate from high school at Adamson High School. First one to go to college. And after he graduated, he came back to Adamson High School and became a teacher. Then he became an assistant principal. And now he is the principal of Adamson High School, which has now, according to the latest stats, Adamson High School has become an international baccalaureate world-ranked school, ranked as Dallas ISD's top comprehensive high school in the Domain 1-star performance, and continues to get high scores across the board. Let's give a big hand to the principal of Adamson High School, Oscar Rodriguez.
First of all, say that this is going to be a tough group to follow, so thank you all for this opportunity. opportunity. Thank you to LULAC for giving me the space to come and just talk about who I am, but then also to brag about Adamson just a little bit. So just kind of how you mentioned, just a little bit about me. My name is Oscar Rodriguez Jr. I am a proud Oak Cliff native. I was born here in Oak Cliff. I was raised right down the street, and I am also a very proud Adamson alumni. And so one of my big things that I always like to talk about is just the things that Adamson has done for me as an individual. Is so the reasons why I want to do what I'm doing currently at Adamson High School. And so I started at Adamson years ago, and some of the big things that made Adamson so impactful to me is that it really developed me as a leader. It developed me not only in athletics, it developed me in advanced academics, but it also developed me in service. And so I was a part of all things. Whenever I went to high school, I was super eager to just be a part of something, to be involved. And that's really what my goal is for our students today at Adamson High School. One of the big things that is also super impactful to me, and just thinking about Adamson High School, is Adamson High School made it possible for me to be a first-generation college student. Adamson High School Alumni Association granted me a scholarship to be able to go pursue higher education, and so I'm a proud graduate of Texas A&M University in College Station. Woo! There you go. And so a part of that journey has been super impactful for me because what I really began to identify and to develop as I developed as a leader was my overall goal and purpose is to do the exact same thing for my community and our students at Adamson High School. I didn't anticipate that I was going to be a teacher, but that's exactly what I became, and I have been enjoying every single moment of it. I started off teaching originally at Texas A&M Academy, so right here down on 12th Street. I wasn't too sure if that was a location that I wanted to work at because just like many of you, I'm sure you've heard of negative things about the campus, about the organization. But I will say from my experience and from the work that I put into that organization, they are the same kids, they are the same community, and we're doing the same exact work there. And so that really started off it kind of started a fire in me to ensure that I was providing resources and systems of support for those specific students. But my overall goal was to always come back to Adamson. And so, as Dr. Lazali mentioned, we don't have a very high turnover rate. And if you can imagine, Adamson's turnover rate is very, very small. And so I had to wait until Adamson became available to really even put my name out there to try and see if a position was available for me. And so when the opportunity became available, I jumped on it, I took it, and I came back home. I started teaching at Adamson High School. I was a biology teacher. And the work that has been done in the last 5 years at Adamson, specifically, we have turned that campus around. We have continued to build it. And I say turn around not in the sense to think that Adamson was ever in the wrong direction. Adamson has always been a great school, but within the last 4 years, we have been implementing tons of systems and supports to ensure that we're successful in all different aspects of the campus. And it's resulted in Adamson High School being one of the first comprehensive high schools as A-rated from TEA's rating. So something that we are super excited about, super proud of, and it would be a disservice if I didn't give my predecessor their flowers. So the last 4 years, Adamson High School has been led by the former principal, Stephanie Mai, who is now our current ED, who has just been super impactful, not only in the campus, not only students, not only teachers, the community, but also in leadership of all of us that have been there, that have worked under her. And I'm super privileged to work underneath her to continue carrying the torch of Adamson to the next level. And thinking about all the things that we have accomplished from being a high school student, from being a teacher, to being an administrator, one of the big things that I come back to constantly is the idea that it is possible at Adamson High School. And so my big motto for my campus is, it is possible here. In Oak Cliff, we're at Oak Cliff School. We are predominantly Hispanic. We're over 90% economically disadvantaged. We are over 60% emerging bilingual. But besides all of those things, we have made it possible because we are an A-rated campus and we are leading in academics. So as much as we want to brag about academics, that's not the only thing that campuses have to offer. Academics is at the forefront and is what we want to focus on and is what we continue to focus on. However, there are so many other systems and things in the school that deserve the attention. And so aside from advanced academics, or academics in general, we want to focus on the different things that go on campuses, right? We want to ensure that our students are feeling welcome. We want to ensure that our teachers have support. We want to create a resource for parents and the community at our campuses. And so at Adamson High School, one of our big focuses this year is to further continue developing academics in the sense of advanced academics. So as mentioned, we are now an IB World School. This is our first year as an IB campus. Something that is brand new to us, but it's going to be something that we pour into. And along with that advanced academics, we're also going to continue pouring into our P-Tech program. This last year, we had 74 of our students, of our P-Tech graduates, with an associate's degree, which is the highest that we've ever had, which is amazing. Our goal is to also continue pouring into advanced placement courses, so our AP courses, which has historically been a struggle of ours, but that's something that we are honing in on, and we're making sure that we're creating the same systems of support that we do for our state assessments. We're going to do those same things into our advanced academics courses. And so that's something that we're very excited about, that we know is going to be a lot of work, but it's something that we are prepared for and we know how to do. And so the other things too that I also want to mention is that when we talk about students and culture is a really big thing at Adamson High School. And what we've noticed for the last couple of years is that our student culture results have been increasing year after year. Our kids are telling us that they love it at Adamson. They've also been telling us where our areas of opportunity are, and that's something that we've been very much focusing on. So our students are telling us that they are very engaged, but they want more engagement, right? So that's what we've been focusing on as a campus. That is what we're focused on with our teachers, and we want to make sure that we're providing those, whatever our students are asking for, that we're providing it to them. Similarly, with our parents, we have been receiving an increase in overwhelming survey results in terms of just positive results from our parents. They love what we're doing, they want to be part of it, and we want to make sure that we're creating systems and giving opportunities to parents to ensure that they are coming to Adamson High School, first of all, but then also that they have a role to be a part of the work that we're doing at our campus. And then lastly, our teachers are the forefront of all the work that's happening at our school. And so one of the big things that we've also noticed the last couple of years is that our culture results from our teachers specifically have constantly been on an incline, and the highest that they've ever been since they began. And so that's something that we take a lot of pride in. And besides all these things that we're talking about, we've been focusing a lot on academics, on culture, and just supports within our campus. But I also want to give a shout out to the organizations that have helped make this possible. The campus is only as successful as the different people, the different individuals that are pouring into our schools. Our parent-teacher organization is really big and really heavy, and we want to continue building that. We want to continue growing that. But then also the nonprofits that we work with that have further just had a role in changing our students' lives. For example, Journey Forward Mentoring is a mentor program that provides mentors to our students, not only at Adamson High School, but at Molina High School, at Sunset High School. We also partner with Female DFW, who gives Latinos, young Latin American students who are first generation college students, gives them scholarships for college. We also partner with Clay Leadership, who is coming into Adamson High School and providing leadership classes to our students, which all these different things are going to be super impactful. We also have LULAC, who has been coming and been working with our kids, which has been super impactful also. And we look forward to many more organizations and nonprofits that want to partnership with us and be part of the change. I very much look forward to working more with LULAC to ensure that we are providing our students with more resources and opportunities. And so I want to extend the invitation to anybody in here who wants to be part of the change, who wants to be a part of making it possible, whether it's at Adamson, whether it's at Molina, whether it's at Sunset, or any of the high schools. I mentioned that Adamson High School is an A-rated campus. We're the only A-rated comprehensive high school. But I say that because the remainder of the high schools are right behind us. And so, as mentioned multiple times, like all the high schools, we have this unspoken competition. However, we're all on the same page, we're all on the same team, and we serve the same communities. And so, if you are not giving back to your schools, if you're not giving back to your community, I invite you today to be part of that, whether it's Adamson High School, South Oak Cliff High School, Roosevelt, any of the high schools here in Dallas ISD, because we can very much use the support of our community. Community is super important, and we want to make sure that we're continuing to build that. I also want to give a shout out. As mentioned, one of my big mottos this year, and coming to Adamson as the principal, was ensuring that everybody understood that it is possible here at Adamson High School. It's possible in Oak Cliff, it's possible in Dallas. I want to give a shout out to a student who is a former graduate who is just a prime example of making it possible. Michael Ramos is a graduate of Adamson High School who is a product of all the different nonprofits and organizations that we've had at Adamson, Journey Forward Mentoring, Female DFW, LULAC. all the things. And so this is just one example of thousands of students who have come through our campus and who are continuing to make a difference, not only in their own lives, but their families' lives and in their community. So once again, I invite you all to be a part of the change that we're doing at our campuses. And so if you like to partner, I will be here for a while, and I would love to just meet some of you guys and identify and see what that looks like to come to campus, to get involved, and to get back to the community. Thank you.
Buenos dias, Oscar. My question is, I actually wanted almost to ask Stephanie this, but with the changes in state law, there's a lot of missed opportunities for students who are going to college who might be undocumented. And one of the great opportunities is to have them go through the dual credit and get their degree while they're in high school, because they're going to have to pay for it that way. What is being done? What can be done? How much more can we do to educate the undocumented students that might be in your enrollment that there is this opportunity they need to take advantage of because other doors are being closed to them in the near future?
That's a great question. So I can brag about Adamson all day, and I'm going to do that just a little bit right now. And so in thinking about advanced academics and the different programs that we have available, we do have a PTEC program, which is our it's our college, high school college program that we have 125 students come in every year who are part of this program. And so we partner with Dallas College, and any kid can apply to the program. It is an application process, but the vast majority of kids that come into that apply for the program are accepted into the program. So that's one avenue of early college, just kind of dual credit programs that they can get. At Adamson High School, as mentioned, we are an IB World School, so what that means is that we are now offering IB International Baccalaureate courses. And what this is it's very similar to advanced placement, but it's an international curriculum. And this international curriculum that is worldwide, it is very well known. Students have the opportunity to jump into these programs, take these IB courses, and sit for an assessment that we are going to prepare them for, we're going to pour into to make sure that they are ready and they are successful. Those are other ways that students can get college credits. The other thing that we also offer at Adamson High School is we do offer on-ramps. On-ramps is a partnership with UT in Austin. And so our students are basically taking college classes at Adamson High School and have actual professors at UT in Austin. And we have teachers that are there to facilitate, they work with students, they prepare students, they review material with students. That is another opportunity for dual credit that Adamson has to offer. And I'm sure a bunch of other ones that are other high schools at other campuses also offer. We also, just advanced academics in general is going to be one. AP is the last one. And so AP is something that we have offered for years. And as mentioned, it's something that Adamson High School, and I'll be the first one to admit it, it's an area of opportunity for us. But as mentioned,
Career Institute.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Career Institute also, AP is one that we are working on and we're going to further promote. Career Institute is, Adamson High School specifically partners with Career Institute South. Career Institute is preparing students because we understand that not all of our students are going to go to college. But we want to make sure that at Dallas ISD we are preparing kids for the workforce if that's the option that they decide. So Career Institute has a plethora of different certification offerings for kids. Some of them include, we have auto tech at Adamson, we have digital media and animation at Adamson. There's welding, there's plumbing, there's electrician, excuse me. And so there is a wide variety of options for students who are both documented and undocumented. And those are the different pathways, and then there's just constantly more being added to the list.
Thank you, John. Founded in 1891, one of the oldest high schools in Dallas, Adamson Leopards. All right, our last speaker is a native Dallasite. He currently serves on the board of the South Dallas Fair Park Intercity Development Corporation. He's on the Dallas Civil Service Board. He's also on the executive board of the Teachers Union Alliance AFG. He's a former executive director for the Dallas County Democratic Party, and he's now the president of the Dallas County Young Democrats. Let me give a big hand to Chris Leon.
Thank you, Domingo. Good morning, everyone. Don't worry, I'm going to be the fastest speaker up here today. I'm just here to make a very quick announcement. No, everyone's been great. But I'll be very brief. So I'm the president of Dallas County Young Democrats. In 10 days from now, Tuesday, September 16th, we are going to have our first ever debate with the Dallas Young Republicans at the Granada Theater on Greenville Avenue. It's going to be a spectacle. We're hoping to have 500 to 700 people out, a lot of young people. It's going to be entirely free, which is not easy to do. It's very expensive, and we quickly found out the Young Republicans have a lot more money than we do because they have multiple events there per year. But everyone here, it's kind of with the theme. We've had a lot of great educators, and we have so many educational leaders in the room today. Everyone here is welcome to come out, tell young people who, may not otherwise be engaged or want to hear both sides. Some people are like, why are you engaging, with the young Nazis? And, well, look, Dallas we're the 5th youngest place in the nation. Most people don't know this. Half of our population is under the age of 35. Half. All right, and when you go to, look at who's voting and political events, we're clearly underrepresented there. And, it's important to engage young people. People talk about, especially young men, trending right. I mean, we're trying to take that head on. We know our policies are the best policies, and we're happy to make that case anywhere, anytime. So please come out. We have RSVP link. It's totally free on our Facebook, Instagram. We are accepting sponsorships as well. We're very fortunate to our largest sponsors, Commissioner Andrew Summerman, who gave us a lot of support for this. Also the Vice Chair of the Dallas County Democratic Party, Yasmin Simon. A young lawyer in the back, Christian Havens. There's a young congressional candidate also sponsoring. So really excited for this debate. And we have to fill the room. We're going to split it half Dem, half R. So we need to make sure we have a lot of Dems there. So again, send people our way. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Erica with Mundo Latino over here. You're coming up. All right, so it's almost state fair time. So if you're ready for the corny dogs and the turkey legs and the fried whatever, it's the Mundo Latino is going to be having the largest exhibit at the Texas Hall of the State. And Erica with Mundo Latinos give you an update as to what's going to happen there.
Good morning, how are y'all? My name is Erica Telaine. For those of you that don't know, I am Rafael Luna's oldest daughter. I want to thank the law offices of Domingo Garcia that will be presenting Mundo Latino at the State Fair in Texas. It's going to be September 26th through October 19th. We have a coffee exhibit. We're super excited. It's an international coffee art exhibit. It will be in the Hall of State Gallery. We have over 20 countries that will be participating. This is being put on by Modesto Aceves, and he is being sponsored by Coffee News. JB, are you here? So, JB is in charge of Coffee News, and will be running ads and a special issue for the State Fair of Texas. So if you would like to get your business ad on there, please speak to JB. This is going to be exclusive for the State Fair of Texas, so it will be distributed throughout, and it will reach millions. So we welcome everyone to the State Fair of Texas, Mundo Latino, and thank you. Y'all have a fabulous day.
All right. Also, LULAC and Texas Youth, the Texas Youth Project are going to be doing voter registration starting this afternoon. If you would like to volunteer or want help with the voter registration, after this meeting is over, at the bar, no drinks, we're going to be meeting in the back for a training for 30 minutes. And those of you who want to who got their G shoes on or be able to walk and start registering voters, as you know, 2026 is election year. All right, we're open now for announcement. John?